Hey guys, just finished watching Legend of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 16, I, Ava. What an episode this one was. It was an interesting episode. It kind of feels like it is a little bit more of a filler episode, but then again, it doesn't finish off in this episode. So it feels like it's definitely going to be playing on throughout the rest of the season, and I like this kind of story. It's going to be interesting to see where things go with this, and it is a fun story, even though we don't deal too much with trying to solve the Mullis storyline, although Mullis is definitely heavily involved in this storyline. They don't really do anything to try and stop him in this episode. So because of that, it's why it kind of feels like a little bit of a filler episode. But I like the idea of what they're doing, how they're playing with this Ava character. So the first stuff is during the recap, we get the file about how Rip Hunter had Gideon delete the file 354Z. That was kind of that was interesting with that, and then they never really bring that up later on in this episode. But I'm assuming that it deals with the content of Ava being a clone and all that stuff. But it's unclear whether this version, the one we've been following and stuff, is actually a clone, or if it's the original one that everything's been cloned from. Or because they do say that it looks like they made her in the future, based on is she completely completely a creation from the future tech. The future robots are kind of making this clone, or was there ever an original Ada type thing who actually was a real person type thing? Where that'd be cool to play with and see how that we get that in next week's episode. Hopefully we do get that, even though it looks like we do have that Barack Obama storyline. I just really hope that we get to continue on with that, and we don't just kind of we got this to deal with before we deal that, and then just kind of pause, because it's okay to have Obama on the show like that, unless you actually got him. If they get him to actually show up on the show, President Barack Obama, I mean, if it's just for a cameo at the end of the thing, that would be so shocking. Even if it's just kind of like on screen, like he sent in a video message type thing, that would be so surprising. Then that would make the episode worthwhile, the filler episode, if he just gets a cameo type thing. But we'll have to wait and see if they did that. I doubt that they would be so shocked if they got him, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Then we get Sarah's trying to leave the Legends, and she ends up not leaving because they have to go find Ava and stuff, and Rory is still playing with the fire totem. And then Nate and Wally end up going to find Amaya and type thing, or Amaya, their granddaughter, the vixen from the animated show, the one that Oliver Queen had met type thing, and Barry had met. I thought we were gonna get Amari on the show, and I thought that was all cool. And then we don't get Amari on the show. We go so close, but not seeing her type thing. So it would be cool to see her on the show and see how that would interact and stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, the actress who voiced her in the cartoon and played her on Arrow is actually busy on her own show, so I guess it's disappointing that they couldn't get her here. Then we get Ava is missing. They go to look for her parents, and her parents end up just being actors, and they find out Ava is a clone. And then Nate and Wally team up with Kuasa. That ends up going bad. Then Ava didn't know that she was a clone. We find out that's going to be cool to play with. Like I've been saying, whether or not she's the original one, how is that going to play out? That's really going to be fun to play with that. And where is the original one if this one is not the original Ava type thing? What's going to happen with that thing? I think that'll be fun with that. And I like the idea they did with that. The only thing that was kind of boring with it was that when you had the fights of all the Avas, versus each other, you had half of them having helmets on, half of them had the masks on and stuff, and it was just kind of, obviously it's a ploy to make it so they don't have to, clone her face on all like 10 of them that were there. But it would have made for a better scene, a more interesting scene, is if they all looked exactly the same, and there was the whole point of trying to figure out who's who, and then having that moment between Sarah and Ava, the classic cliched moment between the two, finding out who's who and who and proving not just to Sarah but to actually Ava herself that she's the one, because she knows this and that, and like she knows Sarah, and that's why her stuff. I just think it could have been a better moment, could have been a more touching moment between the two of them, with Sarah kind of not sure who to shoot, which one's the real one, and all that stuff. I think that would have been a way more better moment, and it would have looked cooler. Fighting scenes, seeing just all the different Avas would have looked way cooler, rather than just what it looks obviously like a bunch of stunt doubles just throwing on helmets type thing, which was obviously what they were doing. It was clear that they were doing that. It was it really just took me out of the episode. Whereas if they actually had copies of Ava and everyone looked the same, maybe you give them different clothes. You don't have to have, if you don't want to do that cliched moment of, oh, I don't know who it is, who do I shoot the real one type thing. But I think they could have done that and actually made that a better character moment to bring Sarah and Ava kind of back together, or kind of like, you might just be a clone, but what we had was real type thing. I think that could have been a moment for that. But if they didn't want to do that cliched stuff, they still could have at least had, it would have made the fight scenes look better if they actually had the real copy of the actress's face and have them, all there, rather than just hiding and all that stuff. But I guess, they want to save their budget for final episodes, and I agree with that. Copy a bunch of Avas here, or have a cool scene with the Flash and and Constantine coming for the season final. So we'll have to wait and see where they go. Hopefully it's worth it. But this scene, I can't help but to think that this scene would have been way better if they had, that they actually had cloned her face, and no one had any mask or anything like that, and it actually was her all the time. But would have taken too long to film. So, but it would have been better. It would have been a great scene had they actually had the time and the budget to do that. So she's a clone, and then Kawasa ends up kind of betraying Nate, and leaving him for the darks and stuff. But then Damien kind of starts going soft on Nate, which was kind of weird. With that, it was kind of out of nowhere. It seems like he's kind of he doesn't want to kind of go all evil and stuff. He doesn't want Mullis to really kind of he's regretting what he's doing, but it just kind of seems kind of weird where he's getting this. He's just kind of, oh no, I don't want to do this anymore. It doesn't seem like founded. Yeah, he's losing his daughter and all that stuff, but it's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem. It just seems kind of a little bit out of nowhere. They should have built this up a little bit more, and maybe it just seems they built it up just a bit too fast. So it's gonna be cool to see where things go with that. But just kind of weird the way he was just kind of, I'm just gonna not kill you and all that stuff. Doesn't mean, because I feel like Damien Dark would actually just be like, well, whatever, kill Nate, move on, and then go after and then fight his dark. He doesn't need the legends, he doesn't, even if he does need them, he wouldn't want to need the legends. He'd rather try to do it on his own. So it was kind of weird with that, with him kind of going soft on Nate and all that stuff. That was kind of weird. And then we get Nora Dark ends up killing Kawasa and takes the water totem. And then we get so that was really cool. It was really cool with dealing with that. It's gonna be fun to see how that goes and how's that gonna affect different things going on forward. And hopefully what is that gonna mean for if we get another season of Vixen. It's going to be fun to see that. And the other thing that's going to affect Vixen is next episode. It looks like Amaya goes to Zambezi to try and save it. So how does that happen? How does this whole Barack Obama storyline next week's episode, how does that go and connect to this? So hopefully it doesn't seem to be too much of a filler episode, because it looks like there's a big cliffhanger, and I'd hate for them to be like, oh, Maya's going back to Zambezi, and the legends let her go off, she's not in next week's episode, but they're doing this whole thing, and then the way episode after, then they go stop Maya. I would just find it annoying that they would just do a filler episode like next week. Now, we had the episode with Elvis and stuff. That was kind of not a filler episode because it dealt with the death totem. And then the next episode, it set it, and then it went into the next episode with Constantine coming back and stuff. So hopefully they can maybe make a connection. Maybe there's some sort of stuff going on. Maybe if they also get Obama in 1992 and find him there and all that stuff, maybe that could be a cool idea to play with. At the same time, maybe Gorilla Grodd is also there and Atax is doing a little bit everything type thing, and there could be really fun to play with that. But hopefully, really, this next episode can really be connected to and make it a big connected to the Amaya kind of going after to stop Zambezi. And hopefully, it looks like it does do that. So. But fingers crossed that it does. That Grodd does go after kind of Obama, maybe in 1992. Same year, same place that kind of that Vixen has just gone to save her village and stuff, to save Zambezi. So we'll have to wait and see how that could work out. But I just really hope that it's not another filler episode, because it would be kind of annoying if it was. But all in all, this episode was really cool. There was a few times when there was one time when Kid Flash was running after Nora Dark, and she kind of took his speed and stopped him before she was faster than him. But then she zaps him with lightning again, and it looks like she gave him his powers again. It's like, why would she do that? I get the idea to show how, he's not the biggest gun. She's more powerful than him. I get that. But if she is that powerful, why would she give that speed back? Why would she not keep that and use that herself? Imagine, Mullis with a super speed. He would not need Damien Dark. He'd probably just go to Damien Dark and be like, yeah, you know what? I want your magic powers, and just start taking everyone's powers type thing. So I don't know why she was able to do that. Why she even launched it back. Maybe she figured she doesn't need it, but still, don't give it back to him. He doesn't need it. She doesn't want him to have it to be able to use it to stop her. It just seems a bit weird when she did that. It was cool when she took it away, and it was like, oh wow, that's really cool. And then she threw it back at him, and it was like, oh, you're giving it back to him? I guess I'm glad they didn't just kind of depower him, because that would have been kind of a cheap move, is bringing the new character on like this and then ripping his powers away just for the lasting episodes. But I think it would have been cool to see her, maybe she kind of takes the powers away, and Wally ends up getting his speed back, but she still has his speed. So you get Mullis with speedster power type thing. I think that could have been really cool to play with. But all in all, it's going to be cool to see, and I'm glad that Wally's not stuck without his powers for too long. And so all in all, this episode was an interesting episode. I give this episode maybe a 7 out of 5. It was a fun episode playing with the stuff, but I just would have liked to seen a little bit more things that would have rounded things off. Like I said, with if they actually had cloned the actress, I can't think of her name, who plays Ava, Jess McCain. They actually had everyone looking like that without putting simple helmets on to stopping them. It's one thing, when they do the big crossovers of doing that, that's one way to save money and it makes sense and stuff. But here in this episode, the whole point was that everyone's supposed to look the same, and it's all supposed to be clones of her. So it would have looked a lot better to see, actual clones of her type thing. It would have looked really cool, but they kind of dropped the ball here. But I guess, like I said, saving the budget for the last episode is probably, for the more intense episodes, probably a better idea. I just wish that they had the show had an entirely season-long budget that wouldn't matter. That they can go all out on the season final and make this episode look good too. Not just worry about the last episodes and the big episodes here and there. Just have big budgets for that. So I wish that the budget in these shows were just a little bit more, so that they could do this. So they could have been all clones and looked like Ava Sharp, rather than just kind of some stunt doubles with helmets on. So all in all, like I said, this episode probably about a 7 out of 10. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. I'll see you season 3 episode 16, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.